Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our monthly meeting of the Cobb County Board of Zoning Appeals. Before we go further, we'd like to ask everyone who can to please stand and pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I will now call the meeting to order, and before we go further, please silence your cell phones. For those of you who don't have an agenda or who are coming in for the first time, we concern ourselves first with cases on the consent agenda. These are cases that we've been reviewed by staff and by members of the board, and which there's no known opposition at this time. We discussed these in our work session. Their staff comments and stipulations have been added. We do not anticipate any further discussion is needed for a decision. So with that, I'll hand this over to our zoning division manager, Mr. John Peterson. It's all yours.
Thank you. And before we begin, there is one case on today's printed agenda which has been continued, and this case will not be heard. That's case V44, Aqua Design Pools and Spas LLC. This case was continued until the August 10th, 2022 Board of Zoning Appeals hearing. So we're not going to hear variance case V44 today. Additionally, we did get a request in late to withdraw variance case V65 REA Ventures Group LLC. So I would need a vote by the board to withdraw this without prejudice.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Please vote. All right, passes 5-0.
Okay.
Removed.
All right. And with that, I'm ready to start the consent agenda. Cobb County Board of Zoning Appeals, variance hearing consent agenda for July 13th, 2022. First case on consent is variance case V52. Afridia Cox niece requests a variance to increase the maximum allowed height of a fence in the front of or side of the house in a residential district from 6 feet to 8 feet in land lot 21 of the 20th district. The property is located on the north side of Parkwood Chase, east of Wade Green Road. The Board of Zoning Appeals recommends approval. Is the applicant present?
Yes.
Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V52? We got some folks opposed, Madam Chair Board, so we're going to take V52 off consent and put it in its regular place. Okay. Variance case V61, Trudy G. Brown requests a variance to reduce the setbacks for an accessory structure over 650 square feet for an approximately 713 square foot carport for required 100 feet to 42 feet adjacent to the eastern property line and to 34 feet adjacent to the northern property line. And number two, allow an accessory structure, which is the approximately 713 square foot carport to be located closer to the side street right-of-way line than the principal building, land lot 36 of the 20th district. The property is located on the north side of Old Ackworth Dallas Highway, on the east side of Old Grogan Road, and on the south side of Alter Church Road. The Board of Zoning Appeals recommends approval. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is anyone here opposed to variance case of V61?
No.
Let the record show no one opposed. Variance case of V62, Curtis L. Wooten Jr. requests a variance to number one, reduce the side setback from required 12 feet to 9 feet, which is existing. And number two, reduce the setbacks for an accessory structure over 650 square feet for an approximately 750 square foot detached garage from required 100 feet to 85 feet adjacent to the eastern property line, to 17 feet adjacent to the southern property line, and to 13 feet adjacent to the western property line. Located in land lot 890 of the 17th district. The property is located on the south side of North Elizabeth Lane, north of Paradise Circle. The Board of Zoning Appeals recommends approval, subject to stormwater management comments. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V62?
No.
Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V63, Merv Darter and Linda Darter request a variance to number one, reduce the front setback from required 25 feet to 15 feet, which is existing. Number two, reduce the rear setback from required 20 feet to 18 feet. And number 3, increase the maximum allowable impervious coverage from 45% to 53%, which is existing, in land lot 907 of the 17th District. The property is located on the south side of Bainbridge Way, east of Courtyard Drive. The Board of Zoning Appeals recommends approval. Is the applicant present?
Yes.
Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V63?
No.
Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V66, Ernest Geyer requests a variance to number 1, reduce the rear setback from required 30 feet to 29 feet, and number 2, reduce the side setback from required 10 feet to 9 feet adjacent to the western property line in land lot 700 of the 16th District. The property is located on the southwest corner of East Piedmont Road and Birch Tree Way, south of Scotts Parkway. The Board of Zoning Appeals recommends approval. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V66?
No.
Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V67, My Pool Builders request a variance to increase the maximum allowable impervious surface from 35% to 38.4% in land lot 256 of the 20th District. The property is located on the south side of Waterhouse Street, west of Morningwood Lane. The Board of Zoning Appeals recommends approval, subject to stormwater management comments. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V67?
No.
Let the record show there's no one opposed. And that completes the consent agenda, Mr. Chairman, Madam Chairman and Board, minus V52, which is moved to your regular cases.
Do I have a motion?
Have a motion to,
Approve the consent agenda. Yes. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Your vote, 3 of the votes didn't catch. There you go. Thank you. Passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you. All those folks that were on consent agenda and that were approved, you're free to leave. Okay, moving into the held and continued cases. First case is variance case V49, Jeff Phillips, who requests a variance to allow an accessory structure, approximately 322 square foot garage, be located to the side of the principal building. Number 2, increase the maximum allowable impervious surface from 35% to 41.87%. And number 3, reduce the setbacks for an accessory structure under 650 square feet for a proposed 260 square foot overhang, required 35 feet to 23 feet to the, from 35 feet from the rear to 23 feet, and from required 10 feet from the side to 5 feet adjacent to the eastern property line in land lot 217 of the 20th District. The property is located on the south side of Davis Farm Drive, south of Stylesboro Road. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicants are here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V49?
No.
Let the record show there's no one opposed. Would the applicant please come forward to be sworn in?
Please come up and state your name. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Hayden Phillips, the applicant, and this is Kelly Phillips, the property owner. Great to see you all back here. Made a couple revisions to our previous proposal. We have shifted the pool away from the setback line on the side of the property. So our current, we have new plans that we did submit. Do y'all have those available? If not, I've got 2 copies.
Give one to Cornelius. He can help you. No, he's got it.
Yep, thank you. So our previous plan, we had the pavilion touching the setback line here, and it was about 7 foot. We've shifted the whole pool development over, and now the closest proximity to that property line is 17.5 feet. In addition to that, we have reduced our impervious square footage by reducing the size of our decking and replacing it with some with turf and others, and that's reduced the impervious square footage about 1%.
Speak just a little bit slower and louder. You're going very quickly.
Understood.
I
I'm
don't like
sorry.
to have to speak in public either, so just relax, you'll be fine.
Got you. So that is our new plan as far as overlay, and I've got a rendering I can show you all just for an updated perspective. This is our top-down overview. Should I turn it the other way? There we go. Make sure I got good brightness here. That's top-down overview, and you know this distance from the fence to the pavilion structure is now 17.5 feet from the property line, so it's farther out than that 10-foot, which was in the proximity we were before. The other changes, minor, are just replacing the area around the spa with turf or a grass product to help reduce impervious square footage. And then as well, we did change the decking outlay, just the footprint over here, and change it to more curve instead of geometric to help reduce impervious square footage as well. So lastly, the other thing that we did that was requested was for us to tie off the drains away from the fence line by Mr. Carver, and that was done immediately after the first hearing. So we did move these from the fence line, which the previous owners, when we bought the property, were discharging the water into the adjacent property, but we moved them back 10+ foot, both drains, from the property line and put a discharge pad on them. So that is it.
Questions, anyone?
Okay, thank you very much for all these changes. Do you know offhand which variances you no longer need? Have you?
It would only be the one that's the closest to where we're, to move the setback line from 10 foot to 5 foot.
That's the one you no longer need?
That's correct. We still need the impervious increase, but we have reduced our total impervious coverage. Because I know
Okay.
last time we spoke about either using a permeable paver or reducing square footage somehow, so we made a big effort to try to make that happen and really kind of, shrunk everything down.
What's your
Okay,
current
so
percentage?
it's number 3 that you, it's number 3 that you no longer need?
That's correct.
Okay. And you understand that Stormwater has recommended some mitigation back, some further mitigation back of the stormwater condition?
As far as like a flow well or anything like that?
Yes.
I talked to Mr. Carver. He didn't have any specific requests other than moving the discharge lines away from the fence. However, I know we spoke last time that we're able to install a flow well system to mitigate the additional impervious above the 35%,
Okay.
which is no problem.
Thank you. All right. Thank you for doing all that. Does anyone else have any questions of the applicant? Okay. And Mr. Peterson, would that be correct? Is it your understanding we still need to approve variances 1 and 2 as requested and just delete 3? Is that?
Number 1, yes. Number 2, do you know what the new number is for the impervious coverage?
Yes, I know it's small on this chart, but the new is 40.83%.
Okay.
And I believe the original was 41.87%.
Okay, so we need to amend that, clerk, to 40.83% for number 2. And then for number 3, we still need the rear setback variance, but we don't need the 5-foot side setback variance anymore.
Okay, so it's just half of number 3 we no longer need.
Yes.
So we can just stop before the and?
So after 23 feet, you just put a period and cross everything else out.
All right.
Oh, and one more thing. That patio, it looks like it moved back a little bit to kind of make everything work. So we need to change number 3 to read, reduce the setbacks from accessory structure under 650 square feet for the proposed 260 square foot overhang, required 35 feet to, it looks like it's about 20 feet now. So instead of 23 feet, 20 feet.
Okay. You want me to try to make a motion, then you can correct it, or would you like to make the motion, then I'll say, yeah, I'll say that's my motion.
Yes,
Which of the two?
the first one.
Okay. I thought you would say that. Madam Chair, I move to approve the variances sought today. And I'm sorry, can you give me the plan date on your plan? The revision date?
Yes, it is I believe it's the 6th, yeah, 7/6/22
Okay,
is our revised layout.
thank you. So Madam Chair, I move to approve the request for variances as amended by the plan dated 7/6/22 or revised 7/6/22, so that we're allowing an accessory structure of approximately 322 square foot garage to be located on the side of the principal building. We're allowing an increase in the maximum allowable impervious surface from the required 35 feet to 40.83, I'm sorry, from 35% to 40.83%. And the third variance request is modified so as to reduce the setback for an accessory structure under 650 square feet, proposed 260 square foot overhang from the required 35 feet to approximately 20 feet. And we're deleting the rest of what had been the initial variance request.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Please place your votes. It passes 5-0, and thank you for the accommodation of making these changes.
Okay, next case is rezoning case V54, Total Imaging Incorporated. Request a variance to number 1, reduce the sign setback from required 52 feet off a major collector right-of-way center line to 40 feet. And number 2, allow an electronic sign on a lot without at least 200 feet of public road frontage on one road, which is 155 feet, in land lot 20 of the 20th District. The property is located on the southwest corner of Grindstone Drive and Hicks Road. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V54? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Would the applicant please come forward to be sworn in?
Mr. Peterson, what was the determination on the sign that was down? Please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon. My name is Pulkit Patel, representing Total Imaging Inc. So our customer is requesting a new sign to be installed with the 40 feet setback, and they would like a LED price sign, which also they want to reduce the road frontage to 155 linear feet.
Yeah. Go ahead. Ask the question about why the sign is down.
Can you tell us why the sign is currently down?
Currently, the sign sits 60 feet.
No, we're talking about the sign that they have to post to make the neighborhood aware that they're asking for a variance.
Yes.
I drove by yesterday and it was not up.
The variant signs? We posted them. I have a photo of it.
I just drove by yesterday, it wasn't out.
So,
Do we know the status of it or why it was removed?
I would have no clue, but once we installed it, we did take a photo of us installing that variance.
what date did you install it?
It was from the last meeting when we found out that it was removed.
Okay, so at this point, the variance board can do a couple different things. They could either hear the case, or what I prefer is to continue it and have them post the sign properly for the time frame.
I agree with that. Is it possible that they can reset it, and that way we can make sure that the public is aware of, and give them the opportunity to make objections if need be?
Okay.
Do we need a motion on that?
I need a motion to hold the case until next month.
I make a motion to move this case to next month's agenda.
Second.
Please vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and sir, go by the zoning office and get a new sign. It's your job to keep them posted every single day, so make sure they're posted every day. All right, thank you. All right. Next case is variance case V52. Afridia Cox niece requests a variance to increase the maximum allowable height of a fence in front of or to the side of the house in a residential district from 6 feet to 8 feet in land lot 21 of the 20th district. The property is located on the north side of Parkwood Chase, east of Wayne Green Road. Is the applicant present? Okay, the applicant is present. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V52? One? Okay, let the record show there's one person opposed. All those who wish to address the board, please come forward and be sworn in.
Good afternoon. If you can state your name, please.
Bear with me, I didn't hear everything, but
Okay.
it's Afridia Cox niece.
And would you like to explain your request for the variance?
I already have a fence up that's 6 feet. There's a camera on the recreation side, and since maybe 2018, 2016, somewhere around there, and it's an invasion of my privacy. And every time my house gets burglarized, vandalized, or something, it's when I'm not at home, obviously. And I have pictures to show some things, but not all. And so therefore, the camera is directly on my property, and all I wanted was a couple of inches higher than my fence I have up now, just to hide that one little area where the camera is.
Kim, isn't this yours?
Okay, do you have any photos you'd like to share with us?
Pardon me?
Photos? Do you have any photos of,
Photos?
do you have?
Yes, I didn't come, prepared for that until I saw him, the guy who was, okay, I have some. What do I do? Oh, is this some? Wait a minute, I have a, I'm sorry. Well, that's the beginning. You can, excuse me. That's a good one.
I don't know,
Oh, you have it.
I guess.
Okay. If I may, that light on here, pardon me? Oh. Okay, over right around here. And I have some other pictures where this is. The cars are there all night, practically, and I can show you where the light shines, and this is right here is a window. This right here is a window. And so therefore, up here, the light shines all night. And over here, the same right here, and that's where the camera is there. So people would come into my house here. That's where, this light is where my door is. This is my door. And it's just continuous. It has been for many years. They've also done other damage as far as my lawn is concerned. putting a wire and everything. I just got that done because I'm on a fixed income, so I have to wait. Give me one moment, something else. There's others that I have to get where from 9 o'clock at night to 12 in the morning, no, I'm sorry, 9 at night to 9 in the morning, all of my lights were out, but my neighbor's lights and the recreation lights were on. So therefore, they went in that night as well. My attorney from the Georgia Department of Aging suggested that I stay somewhere at night because they were coming in even through the roof. So whenever I'm not there, like I said, that's when. So this is my fence right now, and all I wanted is, kind of, oh gosh, this is the fence over here. That's the fence. So it's not going to impede anything that the HOA or anyone has to do on the recreation side. It doesn't impact nothing. So this fence has been up for 2008, I believe. So nothing really happened as much as it has in the last several years when when the light went up on their side of the recreation. And I have a lot of police reports to substantiate what I'm saying.
Okay, so the purpose of the lattice is to block the light and the camera from?
Yes, just that, yes. Because of the fact, like I said, it's the Georgia law, it's the invasion of privacy.
Okay.
I am an elderly disabled adult according to Georgia Department of Aging, the VA, and hospitals and doctors, et cetera.
Okay. So you're asking that we grant a variance for the lattice that you have placed on top of the 6-foot fence?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
And as you can see, it just doesn't impact anything but that. And I'm reiterating, but just to make sure.
Is the lattice already on the fence?
Yes.
Do you have a picture of that?
Mm.
I'm still confused.
I don't believe I do. I didn't even know what I had to do when I came. But the lattice has been up. It's just someone anonymously reported it to zoning. But this is like months after it was up.
There also seems to be an issue regarding your posted sign for this meeting, that it wasn't posted properly. Can you talk about that
The signs from zoning?
for this meeting?
Oh, yes. Matter of fact, I have a picture of the one that was still, one I had to take back. It was, I don't know what they do with it. And the other one, I have a picture just yesterday that my lawn guy took that it was down because I put it up frequently. And if you want me to show you that.
The point is it needs to be continuously up for 30 days.
Pardon?
The sign must be up continuously for 30 days.
Yes, I had it up even longer because one date was, I believe, in June, and then they extended it, I think, another 15 or more days, and it was still there, yes.
Okay.
And like I said, my lawn guy just showed me the pictures yesterday. But, I had to put it up several times, back up, I should say. My handyman put it up a few times, I did, so.
Okay, Mr. Peterson, what did you hear from code enforcement on this?
Well, code enforcement went out this morning, and they found the sign that was not posted. It was actually laying on top of a power transformer, so it was not posted.
Okay, for that reason, because of the posting issue with the sign, I'm going to have to vote to delay this until next month. So the neighborhood is,
I'm sorry, I really didn't hear you.
because of the posting issue, code enforcement went out today and found the sign was not up.
This is a sign, and he put it here. This is from yesterday when the lawn guy was there.
Okay.
It's up, well, here it's down. He asked me if I wanted him to put it up, back up.
Okay.
So we've been putting it up constantly.
Okay, well, unfortunately, it has to be up for 30 continuous days,
It's been up longer than that, is what I'm trying to say.
not continuously, per code enforcement, because they checked it.
When it's down, and we know it's down, either I, my handyman, my son, or the lawn guy would put it back up. That's, it's been like this for years, not the sign, but just the complaints about any little thing with the HOA. And I've been there 22 years this year. And I can start telling you, if you like, all of the things that they started the first year.
Okay,
So it's ongoing, but I hear what you're saying, and I will respect what you say, but I'm letting you know, it's an ongoing.
I understand.
Okay, so
But,
if you want to see this, I can show it to you.
Code enforcement was just out there this morning.
And I kind of see where you're going with this, Commissioner Summerhour. You know, since we are in the middle of a public hearing, let's hear from the opposition first, and then we can take an action after we hear their testimony.
Okay,
All right?
thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How do you do?
Please state your name, please.
My name is Lisa Taylor, and I'm on the board of directors of the HOA. I have some pictures if you'd like to see them. Trying to do this. All right, this is a picture I took. This is a picture I took yesterday afternoon. The last time that I remember the sign being up was June 29th. Oops. Oh, crap. Another picture. This is the lattice work that's on the fence, just above the height it's supposed to be. This is taken from the pool parking lot. It's unattractive. Just if you wanted to see what the lattice work looks like. So first, I would just like to say, because she hasn't displayed the sign properly and it's been down since at least June 29th, that you would delay this hearing. I have other things to speak about, though, if you'd like me to. First of all, I don't believe Mrs. Cox actually lives in the home. I think she moved out June 2018. And the house has been mostly vacant since then. Her son, I believe, moved in May, but her car is never there in the evenings, and she does occasionally visit the house during the day. So I'm not sure why this is a problem if she's not living there. The HOA has received probably in excess of 150 complaints about the fence, and we're just tired of it. I'm tired of hearing about it. It's ugly, and it doesn't really accomplish anything. It is lowering our home values. People question whether our neighborhood has a lot of crime. She has windows in the front of her house which have bars on them. She has windows on this far side of her house away from the pool that are boarded over with wood. I have that in one of the pictures also. It just happened to be where her sign is not posted, that picture. She claims that there's a lot of crime there, so I pulled an open records report for the last 5 years of police calls to her home. I have 39 pages of them. There's no actual crime actually in those reports. It's just her calling the police out because she's worried, or she thinks people are trying to wiretap her. There's an AT&T truck that's not really an AT&T truck. She found footprints up near the electrical box in the easement. People are laying sod in her yard and she can't catch them. Somebody's turning off her interior lights from outside of the house. Somebody put a chunk of concrete in her yard. She heard noises and that's when she found footprints. Someone keeps coming to unlock her security door, but there's no evidence of that. She called the police and said that they don't want to investigate anything she calls about because they don't believe her. Another time in 2018, someone dug up her grass. People are moving items around in her yard, but they also have police scanners, so when the police get there, they're not there. And in 2018, something about her ceiling is textured, but it's not textured where she thought it was textured, and somebody had come in and done something to her ceiling and it was still wet. So it's just difficult. And she claims that the HOA harasses her, but we in fact try our best to avoid her. And to not have any, she doesn't support us, not a member, that's fine. But no one does anything intentionally at her home. I believe that I believe she may think it's real, but it's not real. And we just like the lattice work to come down for her to comply with code.
Do y'all have a covenant on fences for your HOA?
Not on fences. Fences are not addressed, but it wouldn't apply to her since she's not a member of the HOA.
Okay. Well, based on the sign not being properly displayed as required by law, I move that we hold the case for 30 days.
Second. And then if I could, I would just like to ask the opposition a question while they're here.
Yes.
If I may. Thank you, Madam Chair. And so my question is, well, let me preface it before I ask the question. I one time had the privilege of serving as president of an HOA with 420 members, and I had some fence and light issues. Is there anything the HOA could do proactively to try to, I understand tennis courts need lights. I get that. I understand parking lots need lights. Is there anything the HOA has considered or discussed to try to act proactively to help alleviate whatever concern the applicant may have?
We really don't want to take our lights down.
No.
In fact, she used to call the HOA frequently and complain about what she considered to be illegal activity in our parking lot. So we kind of did that because we put lights up and put more lights up because she was complaining that there was illegal activity going on there.
Yeah.
So we're
sounds-
sort of trying to help her out.
It sounds like where we're moving is for a hold for a month, but during that time period, I would just ask if you would take a look and see if there's anything that could be done, like putting up a tree or possibly moving towards some sort of, what we talk about here a lot now is environmentally sensitive lighting. That's, I think, the code terminology that's used a lot by architects and design professionals and builders when we look at projects. And I do understand tennis courts have lights. I do understand parking lots have lights.
Our tennis courts are not really playable, so I seldom it's on a timer, but it's seldom on because
Okay.
we don't really play tennis at night.
All right.
And the big security light that's out there was put up by Cobb County.
Okay.
You know, I guess we asked them to install it, but we did it sort of trying to help alleviate her worries about the crime, what she perceived as crime
So
there.
my question with respect to that security light would be, is there anything that can be done in terms of a mild relocation of it or any way to block its impact on this neighbor that would be certainly less intrusive than them putting up a taller fence, for example?
Well, we could look at it, but this is the first I've heard of a problem with the lights.
And that's why I wanted to take a chance to have that dialogue, since looks like we're going to be holding this for 30 days.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you.
we can, I mean, the light is close to the other side of the parking lot from her. There's a strip of grass about 15 inches between her fence and our asphalt part of the parking lot. She has told me in the past that the parking lot is her property. And when I was parked there, that I was trespassing on her
Okay.
property.
Well, thank you for agreeing to look into that. I appreciate it.
I mean, we could plant a tree. It might take a while for it to get tall enough to,
Okay, well, please
Block
just
the
think
light.
about
Yeah.
it, and
sure.
we're going to move on.
I'm happy to do whatever I can. We just sort of would like to resolve this.
May I ask a question, Madam
Yes,
Chair?
Of course, Mr.
The
Peters.
the fence that divides the amenity area from the applicant, is that your fence or her fence?
It's her fence.
Okay, that's the only question I had.
She put it up and then she applied the lattice work to it. I didn't even really realize it was against code until someone reported it.
How long has that fence been up?
Oh, she said 2008. That's probably correct. This is not the first fence. It's the second fence
Okay.
at least that she's put up there.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. I have one question. There's a reference in her conversation that there are security cameras that are facing her house. Is that correct?
We do have security cameras at the pool, and one faces her house. She also has security cameras. The pictures you saw are from her security cameras.
Is there something, as you're looking at the lighting situation, consider if there's a way to slightly modify the angle of your camera so it does not invade the privacy? Just see what you can do. You don't need to tell us now, but just see what you can do. If you can maybe modify the angle of the camera so you still acquire the security you need, but you also don't
Sure.
go into her area. Okay.
We are looking to replace our cameras anyway. We thought we were sort of helping her out
Yeah.
because she was continuously calling us about activity up there overnight, so.
Okay. Well, we thank you for your comments, and Mr. Johnson, can we have the applicant come back up since I think she wanted to add something, or do we wait till next month?
Certainly, that's at your discretion, too.
Yeah, let's go ahead and, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Sure.
You may come back up. But limit your comments to brief, please. Brief comments, please, since we'll see you again next month, probably.
Brief comments. Oh, brief. Brief? Okay. She kept saying she. I don't know what she was talking about. However, Lisa Taylor is the bone of my contention ever since I've been there. I've watched her son or grandson take pictures and do different things like that. My lights being off, I may be able to show you a little bit now. Her name was on my electricity bill. Her number and her name should not be.
Alfredia,
When the ring-
let's focus in on the fence and the light, and the sign. So the fence, as it is now, is the lattice doing what you need? Is it shielding what you need?
The lattice is working because it's just covering that, but I tell you this, a lot of people like it. You know, I didn't want to go through everything that Lisa Taylor said, but this has been going on a long time. And let me also say this, and I didn't want to bring in race in this. Okay, it's only about 2 or 3 black families. And nobody wanted that house when I purchased it. It was on for a long time. So I purchased it. When the first 6 months, I was working at teaching at Archery Middle School. One of the students ran to my door. It was a drug bust going bad, okay? And then, so I got a little fence. I didn't have a fence then. I'm gonna make it brief. Then I had like a 5-foot, little small one. And then between the drugs, between the condoms, between the people running over. So I got a taller fence. Lisa Till, I don't want to just say she.
Pardon
I
me.
will respect that.
Pardon me, I don't mean to interrupt you. Quick question. How long has the lattice been applied to your fence?
Pardon me?
How long have you had the lattice on your fence?
Months, let me see, last year.
Last year?
Yes, I've had it, towards last year, I'm trying to think, exactly.
Okay, I think the consensus of the board is that if you display your sign for the next 30 days, then we can actually hear and make a ruling on your variance request.
Yeah. So,
All I know, I will respect what you say, but this is not the end. She's been doing this for years and years and years. And she said about the ceiling, I have not changed the ceiling.
excuse me, ma'am, we were trying to keep it pertinent to this conversation regarding your fence. So just be prepared to make the key points you need to make related to the fence when you come back in 30 days.
And photos.
Well,
And photos.
come back in 30 days, so the sign is going to stay up. I don't mind the sign up. They're going to keep taking it down. I'm telling you. I've been going through this for 20 years. And when I first had my 2 granddaughters in the pool, came over to me and said they have to get out of the pool. I says, why?
Thank you for...
I paid, and they made me take my 2 granddaughters out of the pool.
Ma'am,
Yes?
we're not dealing with that
Okay,
today.
I apologize, but she kept saying she, and I didn't understand everything that she said. But if she knew about the ceiling, then she must have been in my house. Maybe she's one of the ones who broke in. She's never been in my house since I've been there,
Yeah.
with my knowledge.
Thank you. I think we have a motion on the floor.
Lisa Tell is the bone of my contention.
Please,
Is that it?
please take your seat. Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
We have a motion and
Do we have a second?
Fred.
Fred, did you second? All right, I'll vote, please.
You said something to me?
All right. The motion to hold till next month passes. Thank you.
Okay, next case is variance case V64, Barry Kaplan and Beverly Kaplan request a variance to reduce the front setback from required 45 feet to 35 feet in land lot 1190 of the 16th district. The property is located on the north side of Blackland Drive, east of Lakeshore Drive. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V64? Let the record show there's no one opposed.
No.
There's a person who's opposed on BBD.
Okay, there's no one in person opposed.
No, no one in person.
Yes.
There's opposition.
Just what I did, just a second, I guess. That switches over. Yeah, thank you, sir.
I'm sorry for the sidebar.
No worries, no worries.
if you'll-
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and board members. For the record, my name is David Meyer. I'm the owner of DGM Land Planning Consultants and the designer of our current site plan. Today, I'm representing co-applicants Beverly Kaplan and Barry Kaplan for petition Z64. And as Mr. Peterson correctly pointed out, our subject is located on what is now a vacant lot on Blackland Drive, just north of West Blackland Court. And the nature of our request is straightforward. That is to reduce our front setback from the required R30 45-foot to 35-foot. The reason for this, Mr. and Mrs. Kaplan would like to build a new house on this lot. As you can see, we're topographically challenged, to say the least. Okay, just like this. As you can see, this is our proposed house right here. Excuse my scribbling, I was making some notes on it earlier. But this is a long, narrow lot. From the back of the house, we have several hundred feet that falls away almost at a 2-to-1 slope all the way back down to a creek, and this ultimately flows into Soap Creek. It's a tributary to Soap Creek. So our goal in doing this is with any site, we do hundreds of site plans all the time in our office. We try to stay off sensitive slopes like that, especially ones that are 2-to-1 or greater. And anytime you move onto a slope like that, the further back you push onto it, you've got either a compounded larger subwall or you've got a fill slope, which is unsightly, and it may cause you to have to take out trees, and it's a constant battle with erosion. Not to mention, we'd like to have at least a little bit of a backyard to make the house marketable and to make it more pleasant. And it's a beautiful lot, and it's going to have an outstanding view of the wooded area behind it. As required, we posted our sign, we've advertised, we've notified all of our adjacent neighbors. We not only have their signatures on a petition that I gave to Ms. Swanson earlier, but most of these adjacent neighbors have expressed excitement to see a new home going up on what has been a vacant lot for, I believe, a little over a year now. To our knowledge, we only have one objector to our petition. You have the name on record, but I'm just going to refer to it as resident of 4201 next door. Then that's to the left of our lot. While we certainly respect their right to oppose us, we strongly disagree with their reasons. My client, Ms. Kaplan, has attempted to meet with the resident to discuss our project in detail, but they've not agreed to meet with us. Again, certainly they're right. But as time permits, I did want to answer a few of their objections that Commissioner Swanson has been kind enough to communicate with me and has passed on to me so we could have some attempts to try to work through these issues. And probably the biggest issue is they state that pushing the house closer to the road will be out of line with the other houses in the neighborhood. And when you drive through the neighborhood, it's gently meandering roads. It's simply just not the case. You have homes that are varying in distance from the front, set from the right-of-way and from the back of curb effectively. And the reason for that is probably several things. One, several are probably grandfathered in. I think some of these houses were probably built in the 70s and 80s. Others, there may be some variances in there that people have acquired to try to help work with a lot, just as we're doing right here, and for other different reasons, okay? I fully understand there's a place for alignment and symmetry, but there's also a place for a less formal, meandering, asymmetrical look. Both can be beautiful and both have their place. The point is, this neighborhood has a very nice streetscape with a nice variation of size and placement and architecture of each home, and we fully intend to honor and continue in that spirit in building. Most importantly, I wanted to show you the difference in how the house that was previously on the lot and what we are proposing. So if I could direct your attention to this. Is there a way to zoom in just a little bit? I'll let you do it. So there you go. Thank you, sir. What you're looking at here, this is actually an as-built survey that was made prior to demolition of the previous house. So it's very accurate. And today I've measured that. We actually have 39.95 feet, to be exact, 36 feet from the right-of-way to the nearest corner of the house. So we're effectively right there. We're asking for just what was there before. The back of the house is generally right where we're proposing to have the next one. And that being said, to show you the next exhibit here, is it right underneath? Right here. What I've done here, I apologize if it's a little hard to read. I've taken the proposed house as shown on the site plan and overlaid it over the over the old house. The bold represents our new plan. And as you can see, they're not identical plans, but they virtually have the same footprint area. So what we're putting in here not only fits the land well, but one could almost make an argument that this near corner, one of the arguments was it would help block the view of 4201 to the street. You could almost make the argument that the way we're changing this angle, it might even open their view a little bit. So we disagree that that's a problem in that respect. So we've also, wanted to point out, worked with understanding the issues. We've tried to work with taking the footprint, reversing it to make it a right-hand drive. Unfortunately, just due to the configuration of this lot, it's a trapezoidal shape, as you can see, and it just doesn't work given the shape of the lot and the footprint that the Kaplans would like to build. So in conclusion, when the Kaplans purchased this lot, they had intended to renovate the home, not resell it, but, and resell it, but not to demolish it and rebuild. But after contractors began to explore the house in more depth, even after the inspection, it was determined that the cinder block foundation was so porous and the house was so riddled with mold that renovation turned out not to be the best option. Our new home, however, will be a much improved and updated plan, and again, it'll be a beautiful asset to an already beautiful neighborhood. Again, I thank Commissioner Swanson for being very fair and open with us and communicating with us on our petition. I thank Cobb County and your professional staff, as always, for assisting us and answering our questions related to the petition. We appreciate your consideration and respectfully ask for your approval of V64. I thank you, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
So I'm going to read the letter from a nearby neighbor who did not want to show up today to the meeting, who is in opposition. So she states, I am writing you in regards to the proposed setback for 4211 Blackwelland Drive case number V64. There are 4 major topics which I will cover in this letter. One is a potential hardship stated by applicant, R30 zoning requirements, the location of the proposed garage, and how the proposed variance will impact our community. The potential hardship. In the variance, the applicant essentially states that without approval of this variance, the home would not have to be built in front of a slope. This is not a hardship. This is a description of topography of our site of Blackland Drive. 5 lots in the row or more, if you include the previous home at 4211 Blackland, have homes that are built backing up to this slope. Accordingly, the yards of these homes are located in the front of the lots. In the back of our lots, we afforded a great view and peaceful privacy. As for my home, despite being built in front of what looks like a more significant slope than that of 4211 Blackland, my home fits within the current zoning requirements. In fact, my home has a nearly 75-foot setback. Second topic is the R30 zoning regarding, and she wanted to put up, oh, perfect, thank you. Regarding the applicable zoning of 4211 Blackland, this lot does not even meet the requirements for R30 as it's less than 24,000 square feet. R30 requires 30,000 square feet. You know that this is one of the smaller lots on Blackland, making it already somewhat inconsistent with our neighborhood. The previous house located on this owners chose to remove was the smaller 1-story ranch, likely scaled to fit the smaller than usual lot. If this is approved, the home will stand out even more on our side of Blackland Drive. Third topic is the garage. By locating the garage 10 feet closer to the street than what R30 zoning allows, this part of the structure will be in my line of sight. The angle of the intersection of our common boundary with Blackland will make it appear that the garage is in my front yard. When standing in my front yard facing the street, the garage will block the view of the street. When traveling down Blackland with my home on the right, the garage will block the view of my home. This will decrease the value of my property. The applicant proposes locating the driveway right next to my property line. As part of this design to move the house closer to the street, it'll appear from the street that the driveway is my front yard. If this variance is approved, I won't even be able to obtain privacy from the proposed home using a fence. Given the steep slope of the land down to my lot, a 6-foot fence or even an 8-foot fence on my side of the line will be ineffective in blocking visibility of this home, the proposed garage, and especially the proposed backyard from my home. final topic is how the proposed variance will impact our community. According to the Cobb County Zoning Division, no other home on Blackland has an approved 35-foot setback. Zoning regulations exist to establish consistency in a community and protect homeowners. Previously, a 50-foot setback was required when Blackland Ridge was built in 1972, and according to the subdivision plan referenced earlier. If this is true, that garage of the former one-story ranch home previously located at said property was less than 50 feet from the road, as the applicant has suggested, it was in violation of zoning code, and thankfully has been removed. In conclusion, in this letter, I reviewed the 4 topics: the potential hardship stated by the applicant, how does it appear to be a hardship at all, but is a description of the topography common to our community, R30 zoning requirements at less than 24,000 square feet, this lot doesn't meet them, the location of the proposed garage, and how the proposed variance will impact our community. I ask you to deny this variance and have the applicants make a building design that adheres more closely to the zoning standards. Have the applicant make a building design that does not place the garage in my line of sight. One option would be to place the garage in the basement, and the other option is to place the garage on the other side of the lot and update building design accordingly. And then she also has this one. You can show that is just the subdivision plat. So that is her opposition. So now, so I've been to the house, and I actually went there again before coming here. So I've been to the lot. When we look at variances, we're to look at the shape, size, and topography. And I truly believe, because of the shape, size, and topography of this property, that if this house, if we do not allow for a variance to move it closer to the street, it is virtually impossible for them to build a house that would be consistent with the sizes of the houses that are there, as well as the sizes of the houses that are new builds throughout this property, throughout this subdivision. And there are quite a number of new builds. They're all different shapes and sizes and looks, from being the older homes that have been there since the 70s to the newer looks. It's a very beautiful subdivision in that it winds around. There isn't, like in some subdivisions like my own, where it's just a street and you look down and you can see the consistency of all the setbacks. And you know when someone's out of the setback because it's closer to the street. You can really see that from the street view. On this, it winds around. And it's also very well wooded. From the older homes, the new homes have put some very nice trees back in place. And so you really can't drive through the neighborhood to see if they're consistent in setbacks. The other thing too, which is an issue with this property, is that if you notice, her property is in a subdivision that was recorded as R40, and this is a subdivision right next to her. You'll see this pink line on the screen, which is R30. The other thing, as well as when this subdivision was built, the code has changed as far as setbacks. So in looking at the homes that are around this area, that are close to this area, this home was built, that was taken down, was at 35.95. The house next door at 4223 Blackland, their garage, which you can see here on the picture, their garage is 38 feet setback. And across the street from the said property at 4210, which is actually a newer build, their setback is 32 feet. So I don't know or have history of if it came in for zoning or if this was, there has been some zoning code changes from back in the 70s, but in that one area, those are the setbacks. And her house is definitely set back far from the road, but it also has a slope. So it sets significantly down from this property. So when you're on that road, you're like this. So it really, I asked the applicant if they could see if they could flip where the garage would be on the other side. And they spent considerable amount of time seeing if that would fit on this property. Again, the topography on this property, there's very little that you can build in the front, and then the back just goes down into a deep slope, which I think gives this property, if they fit this on the property with this, to me, a minor adjustment to move it to the road, I think it's good in that they're not taking and destroying some really beautiful hardwood trees that are in the back of this property as well as the other properties, as you see. They're really nice trees. It's a nice buffer from the back. So I just have one clarification, Mr. Meyer, if you don't mind coming up. So you asked for a 35-foot setback?
That's correct. Front setback, a reduction from the R30's 45 foot to 35 foot.
Correct. But then I was looking, you're going to build it at a 35.95?
We're asking for 35. No, the 35.95 was what was there previously.
Previously, but you can fit to 35.
We're asking 35. That's
Okay.
correct. Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that we're correct.
No
and
worries.
So that you don't have to come back and visit us.
Okay.
So I'm ready to make my motion. If anybody has any questions to ask Mr. Meyer. So I make the motion that we approve variance V64 to reduce the front setback from the required 45 feet to 35 feet.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. Please place your votes. Look,
Can we have a comment period?
Comment?
of course, Fred.
Okay. I have absolutely no problem with the front setback variance request. My only concern was as to the lot size discussion. I was just curious if staff had any thoughts about that, the lot size relative to a typical R30 lot.
The lot size on this is grandfathered because it was platted prior to our current zoning code.
Okay.
So the lot size can't be touched by us.
Okay, thank you.
Can you place your votes, please? Thank you.
Thank you all.
5-0. Is-
Okay, Madam Chair and Board, the final two things on your agenda is to amend two previous variance cases stipulations. The first one is for V31, Seaman Network, Inc., Five Below. This was a variance the board heard back in April, variance case of V31 of 2022. And when this was approved, the board put two variance conditions on it. One was, number one, installation of four-way stop signs at the intersection within the shopping center lot. And number two, prohibit commercial vehicle parking in the lot except for tenants and their customers. Limit parking to 12 branded commercial vehicles per tenant in the lot in front of the retail space. Remaining commercial vehicles can park in the lot behind the retail space. It was discovered after it was approved that these are two conditions that go beyond the scope of what the variance is for. So the staff would ask the board to amend your motion to delete stipulations 1 and 2.
Make sure I do it right. All right. I make a motion that we amend the prior motion as stated by removing the installation of the 4 stop signs at the intersection within the shopping center lot and removing prohibit commercial vehicles parking in the lot except for tenants and their customers. Limit parking to 12 branded commercial vehicles per tenant in the lot in front of the retail space. Remaining commercial vehicles can park in the lot behind the retail space. That is my motion.
Second.
Do we have, all in, please vote. Thank you. 5-0. Next one, Mr. Peterson.
Okay, the second item in your amended agenda is to amend a motion from a board action taken for variance case V23 of 2022, which was taken on May the 11th, 2022. This was a variance that was fairly controversial, and it was approved subject to 14 stipulations. The staff would ask the board to amend stipulation number 13. It currently reads applicant to install 8-foot vinyl fence in dark brown and have a sound transmittal classification rating of 26 to deadened sound. Staff would ask that that condition be removed and be replaced with the following language. Number 13, applicant to install an 8-foot tall wood fence as shown in a picture submitted by the applicant's representative on June 6, 2022. And secondly, stipulation number 14 needs to have something added to it. 14 currently reads, property to come in compliance within 45 days of this hearing. Staff would recommend that the board also add to that fencing and landscaping to be in compliance by September 15th, 2022. And those are the two changes, Madam Chair and Board.
I make a motion that we approve the applicant to install the 8-foot tall wood fence that was shown on June 6, 2022, and that this part of the property to come into compliance within 45 days of the hearing for the fencing and landscaping to be in compliance by September 15th. But from when the hearing was, they had 45 days for the other things to come into compliance, and I still would like for that to be held.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Y'all prepared to vote? Please place your votes. The amendment passes 5-0. Thank you. All right, folks. Anything else from you, Mr. Peterson?
No, ma'am. That completes your agenda.
Oh, I know. I wanted to be sure he didn't have something he was holding. All right. You have in front of you both the minutes from the variance hearing on June 15th and the minutes of the special call meeting on July 11th. Do I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
Okay, second.
Second.
Place your votes, please. Minutes approved, 5-0. Do we have anything else for the need of discussion? Okay. All right, do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Vote? All right. Thanks, everybody.